Hello everyone, it's Mel from Stocksbridge Guitar Tech. I'm here with another lesson for you today, and in this lesson we're going to be looking at the 7 modes of the major scale. I have done a video on modes previously, but some people I do know really struggle with these, so it's always good to revisit things like the modes, where you constantly need to go over them until you understand the concept. So I've tried to present them in a slightly different way today. Now, this lesson does assume some things. It assumes that you know all of your keys, or most of them anyway, all the important ones. If you don't, you will need to learn the keys first. So C major, G major, B flat major, E major, etc. You can use the circle of fifths. There are plenty of lessons on YouTube that teach you about the circle of fifths. I've done a video myself on that as well, if you want to check that out. The circle of fifths will show you which keys have sharps in them and how many sharps, or flats and how many flats. You really need to know this information first before you attack modes, because otherwise modes are never really going to make any sense to you. But anyway, let's dive in and let's have a closer look at these 7 modes. I'm going to be using the C major scale just for ease, as it doesn't contain any sharps or flats. And in the introduction I was just playing through the 7 modes of C major. So let's have a closer look at these modes. All major scales have a series of 7 notes within them. They also have 7 modes. The first mode is the major scale. In our example of C major, we're in the key of C major. So C Ionian is the same as C major. The notes of the C major scale: C, D, E, F, G, A and B. Now we also, you'll notice, have 7 scale degrees within the scale, which we write as upper or lower case Roman numerals usually, and we have 7 chord types. So in any major scale, it doesn't matter what key it's in, A major, F major, C sharp major, it doesn't matter. These scale degrees and chord types will remain the same. In C major, we have the chords C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor and B diminished. So those scale degrees never change. The first degree is always going to be a major chord, the second and third degrees minor, fourth and fifth major, sixth minor, and the 7th degree is always going to be a diminished chord in any key. That's mode 1. The scale degrees also they serve a useful purpose when we're writing things out. For example, chord progressions. A musician might say we're in the key of C major and it's a 1-4-5 progression. You've probably heard that expression, or you've probably seen it written out somewhere in a music book. And that's what it's referring to, these chord types that correspond to those scale degrees. As you can see, if we were to play a 1-4-5 progression in our C major, we would have the chords C major, which is the 1, scale degree 1, F major is scale degree 4, G major is scale degree 5. So a 1-4-5 progression in C major gives us those three chords: C major, F major and G major. Now if we're in the same key, C major, but we have a 2-5-1 progression, now you'll see scale degree 2 is the chord D minor. So a 2-5-1 progression would give us D minor for the first chord, G major for the 5th chord, the 2nd chord but the 5th degree, and then C major for the last chord, which is the 1. So 2-5-1. So we would play the 2 chord first, D minor, then we would play the 5 chord, G major, then we would play the 1 chord, C major. As we change through the modes, those scale degrees will change. So in the next mode we're going to look at, we start on the 2nd note of the scale, which is D. In effect, what we're doing is we're taking that C at the beginning of the scale and we're moving it to the end after the B, and that gives us the 2nd mode. So we now start on D. So this mode takes its name from D, even though we're still using the notes of the C major scale. We're no longer now in C major, we're in D Dorian. So now the notes become D, E, F, G, A, B and C. So if you look, you can see that we've just taken that first C major and we've moved it to the end. The scale degrees have now changed. They've moved one position to the left. They've moved down one, if you like. So the 1 now becomes 7, the 2 becomes 1, the 3 becomes 2, and so on. But as you can see, the notes haven't changed, they're exactly the same. And the chord types haven't changed, they're exactly the same. We're still using the notes and the chords of the C major scale or C Ionian. We're just doing it in a different order, and we're emphasizing a different chord and note as our first degree now. In this case, D. We're emphasizing the D note, and we're emphasizing the chord that goes along with that D, which in a C scale is D minor. So if we played a 1-4-5 progression in this D Dorian scale, we would get the chords D minor for the 1, G major for the 4, and A minor for the 5. If we played a 2-5-1 progression, we would get E minor, A minor, D minor. As you can see, we get a completely different set of chords in this mode than in the first mode. So Dorian is mode 2, Ionian is mode 1, Dorian is mode 2. Now to get to mode 3, we do the same thing again. We take the D from the beginning of the D Dorian scale, and we'll move that D and that chord D minor to the end after the C major, and that gives us mode 3, Phrygian. This mode takes its name from the 3rd scale degree, which in our C major example is E. Now we've got the notes E, F, G, A, B, C and D. We've taken the D from the D Dorian, the beginning, and we've moved it to the end. As you can see, the scale degrees have changed again. So now if we played a 1-4-5 progression, we'd get the chords E minor, A minor and B diminished. So really the only thing that's changing in these modes are those scale degrees, the order in which the notes and the chords are being played. The notes always stay exactly the same. We're still using the notes of the C major scale. No sharps, no flats. We're still using the chords of the C major scale. And if you go to here, position 6, scale degree 6, that's our C major. And if you start there and look at the chord types, you will see that we've got major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Just the same as in the C major scale or C Ionian mode. So that's mode 3, Phrygian, very sort of Spanish sounding type mode. The next mode is going to start on the next note, the 4th degree of the C major scale, which is F. So again, we're going to take that E minor and move it to the end. We now have mode 4, Lydian, in this case F Lydian. You can see again the same notes. We've just moved that E to the end. Same notes and the same chord types. After F Lydian, we get to the 5th mode, which is Mixolydian. In this case, G Mixolydian. So we've now taken the F major and moved that to the end from our F Lydian scale. We now have a new set of scale degrees, a new combination of those 7 chords, even though they're still the same chords. As you can see now, the diminished, that is the 7th degree in the Ionian mode. Here it's at the 3rd degree. A 2-5-1 progression here would give us A minor, D minor and G major. We'll do the same again. We'll move that G major now to the end after the F major. That takes us to mode 6, Aeolian. The Aeolian, mode 6 in a major scale, is also the relative minor scale for that key. So the relative minor for C major is A minor. So the Aeolian scale is the same as the natural minor scale. The first scale degree is now a minor chord again. In the previous mode, Mixolydian, the first degree was a major scale. So you can see how these modes are changing things around, and that's why they sound so unique, and that's why they're so useful. So each major scale in effect is actually 7 scales in one. because by applying these modes we can actually get 7 scales from that one scale. So from the 1 C major scale we can get 7 modes, and modes are just like scales, just rearranged. So that's the 6th mode, Aeolian, which takes us to the final mode, mode 7, Locrian or Locrian. This is the last mode of the major scale. In our C major scale, this would be B Locrian. So we're now starting on the note B, and our first chord is going to be the B diminished chord. A 1-4-5 progression here would give you B diminished, E minor and F major. Very strange progression, but I wouldn't worry too much about this mode. You're not really going to see this mode crop up unless you're into jazz or something like that. It doesn't appear too much in popular music. That's all the 7 modes: Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian and Locrian. Let's just have a listen to each of those modes. I'll play first of all just the notes of each mode, and then I will play the chords of each mode. Those are the 7 modes of the major scale. Just remember, these modes and the scale degrees and the chord types, once you've learned them in C major, then you can apply them to any other key as well. Obviously, once you've learned the keys, so you do need to know the keys, like I said so before. Anyway, I hope that's helped some of you out. If it has, please leave me a like, comment, a share. Remember to subscribe and click the little bell notification so that you don't miss any future uploads from me. That's all from me today. Have a great day, and I'll see you again next week for another video. Bye for now.